As we draw closer to the end of version 1.4 and to the highly anticipated release of Rinascita, it really can't be helped but to think about the insane amount of potential version 2.0 does hold, since without a doubt it will be the biggest update yet and will bring forth many new features along with tons of content. Our early introduction to Rinascita already has given us some great insight for what is to come that I do want to go over, but also to go over what else we may possibly be able to expect from the version 2.0 update. Especially since we are receiving a brand new map that is expected to be much larger than the Black Shores and Mount Firmament since it's a completely new region. So the possibilities for our first major update within WutheringWaves is truly endless. Just before we dive in, as always, would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more WutheringWaves content and drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Now, as it has already been revealed, we are receiving two new amazing looking 5-star characters within version 2.0. Carlotta will be dropping as our gun DPS character in the first phase, and within the second phase we are receiving Rochia as our new sub DPS character. Of course, with these two characters alone and how unique they look in comparison to our previous characters, there will be a ton of hype surrounding Rinascita, though it's not only due to their amazing designs, but due to the fact that version 2.0 characters in other games tend to introduce completely new features and potential power creep. So it would be fair to expect for both Carlotta and Rochia to possibly be some of the best characters and to definitely hold a ton of value. But given Carlotta specifically will be our first 5-star gun DPS character, she will certainly hold more interest as she will likely be one of or perhaps the most fun character in the game. Aside from the 2.0 characters, and as mentioned, we are receiving a brand new area. Though regarding the scale of it, Rinascita is an entirely new region which could possibly be the same size as Huanglong, but personally I do expect it to be a bit smaller at first and will expand over future updates. Regardless, there will for certain be new enemies and in specific new open world bosses to battle, which I am expecting that even as an open world boss they do provide even more of a challenge than our current bosses. However, rather than just inflating their health massively, the fallacy of no return does perfectly portray how you can make a boss more difficult without simply increasing its HP, since his attack patterns are more hectic at times and initially were more difficult to learn. So for the Rinascita open world bosses to follow the same path as the fallacy of no return with having more complex attack patterns, it would allow for standard open world bosses to provide some excitement as they once did in the beginning. Also, along with new open world bosses, there likely will be a new weekly boss that will drop a new forecast echo along with materials for our 2.0 characters. Though with the echo in particular, similar to Jinxi and the Shorekeeper receiving an echo dedicated to themselves and being the first character to drop from their versions, the new weekly boss echo could then be tailored for Carlotta, as she will be the first character to drop in 2.0 and without a doubt is going to be a special character, given that she is our first 5-star gun character and again is the face of 2.0. That aside, it goes without saying that the new Rinascita bosses will have some of the best looking designs, considering how great Rinascita and the 2.0 characters already look. So I am certain the devs won't hold back on the bosses either, and more specifically, since Rinascita is a water-based region, we might finally be able to see the whale boss that was featured in one of the old trailers before the official release, which might end up being the new weekly boss due to the sheer size of it, but either as an open world boss or a weekly boss, it will definitely be interesting to see a boss fight against a whale in water will exactly play out. Now, due to the addition of new open world bosses, there will definitely be a new hologram boss, and especially since we last received one back in 1.3. However, depending on exactly how many new open world bosses drop in 2.0, there is a possibility of more than just one new hologram boss dropping. Since if there's ever a time to drop 2 hologram bosses, it would be in a massive update such as version 2.0. Also, since there will be a ton of area to cover within Rinascita, so for just one hologram boss to be featured in a map that could be as big as our current map would be a bit underwhelming. Which means there is a good chance we do receive more than just one hologram boss. Although once again this will majorly depend on if they do drop quite a few open world bosses in Rinascita. Additionally, there is a bit of uncertainty in whether the new hologram bosses are going to be holograms of our new open world bosses or current open world bosses. since I would assume they may want to drop Rinascita hologram bosses within the Rinascita region, which leads to our current bosses being forgotten about. That being said, perhaps we do see current bosses as a hologram in Rinascita, though we can't know for sure, and that would be something for us to wait and see with the official release. But one thing I would expect from the new hologram bosses for certain, regardless of whether they're from Rinascita or the current map, is for them to be the most difficult bosses in the game, due to reasons such as our 2.0 characters having potential to be the best characters in the game and power creeping our current characters. So with that, hologram bosses would be expected to become more difficult to then provide a challenge to our new DPS characters. Also due to the fact that majority of players that have a well-invested main DPS such as Zhezhi or Camellia are able to pretty much clear through every hologram boss without much difficulty. So in order to restore the challenging aspect of hologram bosses in version 2.0, they could have some of the most hectic and complex attack patterns, a bit similar to the fallacy of no return. Meanwhile, to also ensure our current hologram bosses aren't really forgotten about completely when 2.0 drops, they could possibly introduce a new difficulty after level 6 for all hologram bosses. Of course, this would lead to them being able to hit much harder and have more HP, but could also possibly have a new mechanic such as a damage cap, essentially meaning you aren't able to one-shot a boss and would be forced to learn their attack pattern. Though I understand if players with an S6 Jinxin or Camellia might be a bit annoyed with the fact that they aren't able to use a character they have spent money on. So I would like to hear your thoughts on a damage cap mechanic, or if there are any other mechanics that could possibly be introduced. Of course, along with the new vast region, there will be many new smaller enemies and echoes to farm, and we have in fact already seen one of them that flies within the 2.0 reveal trailer. So just like with open world bosses, I do expect the devs to not hold back on these new smaller enemies in terms of design. However, more importantly, just as there isn't a better time to drop 2 hologram bosses than to do so in version 2.0, there really wouldn't be a better time than to introduce brand new echo sets into the game. As of now, we do have an echo set designed for each element, but there is also the Lingering Tune set and Moonlit Cloud set, which are essentially sets that provide a boost in a specific stat. So this could very well hint at more echo sets dropping that provide a boost in a certain stat, such as Resonance Liberation damage, Resonance Skill damage, basic attack damage, and even heavy attack damage. With that, these would be the most universal echo sets in the game, as many characters will be able to share the same set, just as we've seen with the Lingering Tunes and Moonlit Cloud sets, as they aren't restricted to elements. Additionally, it provides much more variety of choice for your echo builds, and may even allow for a double 2-piece echo set build to be even more of a viable option, ultimately allowing the process of attaining a solid echo build for your characters to be significantly easier. However, as for the exact echo sets that could possibly drop, we will of course need to wait for confirmation, as they really could be anything. But since Carlotta will be the first character dropping within version 2.0, I do expect one of the sets to be her best in slot set, just like how there will potentially be a weekly boss echo tailor-made for Carlotta. So since it's speculated she will value resonant skill damage bonus the most within her kit, then it would be fair to assume one of the new echo sets will revolve around resonant skill damage, which again would be insanely universal, as we do have quite a few characters that specialize in dealing tons of resonant skill damage, such as the almighty magistrate, Changli, and even Yangyang. So depending on exactly how much resonant skill damage bonus the 2-piece effect will provide, it could lead to a double 2-piece echo set build being an amazing option for your characters. Therefore, there is a ton of potential with the new echo sets possibly dropping in 2.0, as I do believe they will have an impact on multiple characters and will allow character building to be much more flexible. Lastly, amongst the endless amounts of quality of life updates, free summons, limited time events, and potential character skins, given we have just received weapon skins, it might be possible to see new permanent modes dropping, maybe even new endgame content coexisting alongside Tower of Adversity, especially since our favorite mode, the Elusive Realm, is leaving just before 2.0 drops, which means it could possibly just return right after in 2.0 with a fresh new look and more rewards, or since it's making space for a brand new mode to experience. Again, it could possibly be new endgame content since we do only have Tower of Adversity as our only endgame mode, or perhaps a new roguelike mode or even a new co-op mode. Though regardless of what mode exactly drops, it would be fair to expect for a brand new mode to drop in 2.0 and for it to be a permanent mode, as then players can have another form of content to enjoy in the meantime whilst they are waiting for the next version update. Personally, I am hoping it will be a permanent co-op mode similar to the Hologram Boss event, since as I have mentioned quite a few times before, co-op is incredibly stale as there aren't any incentives to play with others, aside from of course collecting more materials or echoes. So considering how great the Hologram co-op event was, the devs are fully capable of implementing top tier co-op content, which we could possibly and hopefully see more of in the next update. Overall, version 2.0 is for certain going to be the best update yet and will be a complete game changer, considering the amount of possible features and systems that can be implemented into a brand new region. But especially since all of our previous version updates, regardless of being more of a filler update or not, has been completely stacked with tons of content, features, and amazing characters. So it would be fair to expect version 2.0 to be even better than previous versions, and judging just based off the reveal trailer, they most likely will deliver some amazing stuff in Rinascita. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more WutheringWaves content, and if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. Also, drop a comment down below on what you're looking forward to the most within version 2.0. And yeah, hope to catch you guys later.